Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks for asking me some questions about the Pacific Crest Trail. I'm gonna just dive right into it because I believe in brevity. Jess asks, any shot you'd want a pedicure when it's all done? Soothes the soul. 100% definitely will get a pedicure. Let's go together. It will be awesome. We can have the fish nibble at our toes and all that stuff. Reading that book, Fixing Your Feet, just completely changed my outlook on how to treat your feet. I thought I just had to toughen up and let the blisters pop and heal over with the dead skin, but now I'm very gentle with them. Coconut oil rubs, very delicate taping process. So lots of different things. I'm totally about a pedicure after this. Maybe I'll even get one while it's going on. ZZ McD asks, are you meeting lots of folks on the trail? Yes and no. I am meeting less people than I expected, but I am definitely still meeting people. Usually on a day of hiking, I will pass by or be passed by one other hiker or a hiking group, but I was thinking it would be more crowded than that. I guess the bubble is just ahead of me. The bubble is the people who start earlier. It's more typical to start in early or mid-April, and they're all up in Kennedy Meadows and just starting up on the Sierra. So maybe I'll hit them if I continue to keep my high mileage going. I heard last night, I'm here in Tehachapi, that 26 hikers went to this Thai restaurant. So there's people out there. I don't always see them. And all the business owners that I pass by usually like to have hikers come through, despite how bad I smell. Just Be Brooks. Two things you didn't expect, one delightful and one disappointing. So the most delightful thing is all the sunrises and sunsets that I get to see by being outside all day. I'm usually up around 5 and then on trail by 6, and I usually call it between 8 and 9 p.m. So I really like hiking when sunrise and sunset is going on, makes for good pictures and all that. But that also leads into the disappointing thing. I'm spending a lot of time on my feet, and I am dealing with some foot problems. I got rid of the ones that were hurting me really bad and causing me to limp and all that, but I took care of that in Apple Valley. But I'll get into that because Ridges and Valleys asks, how are your feet? So they, like I said, they're pretty good in general. I can show you here. I don't know if that'll show up. I'll take some pictures. I'll throw some pictures up. Hopefully you get to see it. It's not as bad as it looks. That's all dead skin now, and yeah, the blisters and I had like an open wound on the bottom of my left heel that was causing me big time issues, but that's all healed up. The thing I'm dealing with now is in the morning, my feet will have a little bit of numbness and tingling, and usually it goes away by the time my feet soften up and I start walking and it heats up. I'm taking ibuprofen. I take about 1,200 milligrams a day, which is the doctor recommended amount. Doing my best to not exceed that. So the pain is manageable there, but I am worried that I am causing kind of long-term damage to my nervous system in the feet. So I put out some questions this morning to doctor and nurse friends of mine and see what opinions I can get from them. So thank you for your help there. And then I also have put some questions out to people who've hiked the PCT before, and they said it's pretty common, but that it goes away after a couple weeks or months once you're done with the hike. So I'm hopeful because when I rest like I am this morning, my feet improve pretty fast. So it's just something I'm going to manage, and I'm planning to take 2 days off up in Kennedy Meadows to go fishing with my dad. So I'll get to rest my feet there and dip them in an icy river, hopefully. Speaking of my dad, he asks, what is the Navy Subway? Toilet paper or fine natural vegetation? So the Navy Subway is toilet paper for sure, and then clog the sanitation system, and then you have to send Chief Sanchez and his minions to go fix it. But I don't have to deal with that out here. But I do use rocks and sticks. I don't use paper. I do have hand sanitizer, so I think I stay pretty clean. Probably not as clean as with toilet paper and shower every day, but hey, that's what it is. I started doing that when I was guiding backpacking trips with UCLA Outdoor Ventures. It was the thing to do, and it works really well. So I told the guys I met yesterday that I only use natural vegetation for TP, and they all like looked at me like I was crazy. But like I said, I find it works just fine. My Montana Life. Will you shave your beard when you get back? Yes, I definitely will. I'm so used to Navy haircut and beard clean shavenness by now that I really like it. And the beard kind of itches. It's not so bad. I think the buff helps with that. That's the thing I wear around for sun protection. But I will shave the beard because I'm still in the Navy Reserve. So even though I like the clean shaven look, I also still have to do it to comply with regulations. Looking pretty good. It's coming kind of fresh, right? Yeah. Ali asks, hardest thing you've experienced on this journey? That was the day in Deep Creek. Deep Creek was where the hot springs were, right next to the river. Super cool spot, and I wish I could have enjoyed it more, but my feet were just killing me so bad that I couldn't make the mileage I wanted to make. And then in that evening, I dropped my fancy camera in the river, so I was pissed about that. It wasn't working, so I had to get a replacement. And then there were these like really young 15 or 16-year-old girls drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade at the river that I had stopped at and being really obnoxious. But it was probably just my bad attitude. They're allowed to have fun, right? But they're also underage, so I should have yelled at them. Been like, yo, I'm government. D. Mendoza, have you listened to my boy Harry yet? No, but I did listen to When Mountains Sing, and that book was incredible. Great story, wonderfully written, very poetic. So thanks for that recommendation. And it had me crying while I was walking on the trail. So not a lot, most books don't make me cry, but it's really not that hard to make me cry either. I cry watching like Star Wars. So if anybody has any book recommendations, I'm all ears, because I got a lot of time to listen to audiobooks while I'm on the trail. So appreciate it if you send me any recommendations. Tingwich, can I make a bulk donation without signing up for a subscription? I know, people hate subscriptions. I hate subscriptions too. At the moment, no, because I just didn't set it up. But I've talked to a couple folks, and some are recommending GoFundMe, some are just saying just do Venmo. I really appreciate the donations, and what I'm planning to do is I have some ideas for a nonprofit that I want to found to connect people who want to donate to the military, specifically submariners, with the submariners themselves. So rather than give your money to some organization like Wounded Warriors or something where you're getting 30 cents on your dollar, just something small, easy, and direct that can impact somebody's life, because those guys work really hard, and I think about them a lot while I'm hiking. And so yeah, I think a couple $100 will really help me. So if people want to just donate one time, then that would be great. But for now, no, just wait till I get up to Tahoe. I'm taking some time off up there, and I can get on a computer and set it up. So, but yeah, again, appreciate it. Becca Guildylocks asks, what's your goal destination on day 100? Becca, I've been thinking about this. You made me reflect on my ambitions, and I'm gonna temper my expectations a bit. So day 100, I was planning on Canada, but to do that, I have to average 26 miles a day for 100 days straight with no zeros. And the zeros I'm finding are very important to relax and take some time off. So I do have a plan for 114 days that I've kind of been following. I'm only a day or two behind on that. So that's great. And I think I'm gonna try to stick to that plan, but 100 sounds way better than 114. My big thing is I have a hard stop on September 11th. I have to be in Alameda for a Navy Reserve drill weekend. So there's really nothing stopping me from getting back on a plane and going back up to Washington or wherever I'll be to finish the trail then, but I'd rather just be done. Pronounce Ronit. How do you manage to keep your supplies organized? I will show you. Hopefully this will be fast. So obviously I'm usually wearing my shoes and socks and all that. I'm just not right now, so my feet can air out. So this is my pack. When I used to take people backpacking, I would tell them think ABC when you're packing your pack, which is accessibility, balance, and compactness. Really the only one to worry about is accessibility. I find the pack tends to balance itself, unless you're doing a big heavy water carry, but I don't carry much more than 2 liters really ever. And then compactness, I mean, just shove everything in there. So that's all it takes. So yeah, let me start. So outside here, I have my sleeping pad and resting napping pad. So that's always accessible. It also really only fits there. So I can pull that out when I rest. And yeah, that's that. I usually have my extra pair of socks drying on the outside of the pack. So I did lose one of my liners. So I only have 1 pair of liners, but I still have 2 pairs of outer socks. But that's where those usually live. So that's done. I'll keep on the outside for now. This is my little GPS device. This is what sends my location every hour. And it also has this SOS button. If shit hit the fan, then I don't know, a helicopter will come save me. I don't know who it will be. Hopefully it's the Air National Guard or something. That would be a good time. These are my tent poles. I have not set my tent up once, but I want to have it in case it does rain. And they live on the outside of my pack just because they don't fit on the inside. So the actual tent lives at the bottom because I have never touched it. Water bottles are out here. Anytime I stop, I'll be drinking water. And then my sandals. So anytime I stop, I also take my shoes off and put the sandals on. So want to have those accessible. Then outside of the pack here, I have these water bags, which I use in combination with my filter. So that's how I filter water when I'm at a stream, so I don't get giardia, because I don't want to be shitting my brains out for weeks. And I have two just in case one bursts. So my poo trowel, not a poo slide, it's a poo trowel. So I dig a hole and then do my business. I've really only taken 3 nature poos, I think, on this trip because, I don't know, I'm doing enough mileage that I'm passing a campground with a pit toilet or something just about every day. Rag, I use this for just about everything. Washing, drying, whatever. And then anytime I see water, I'll try to wash this off. So it stays pretty fresh. Sunscreen. Hat cover for the rain. Hasn't rained. This is a bug shield that goes around your head if there are bugs. There have been 0 bugs so far, but I heard there's some coming up. So I'll hold on to that. Postcards. Ooh, I actually got to mail these out today, so I'll keep those. That's, oh, this is just some bag that came with the filter. Usually I keep my spoon in there. Where's the spoon? Huh. Where's the spoon? Oh, there it is. And the spoon. The long handle is really nice for like the tuna packets or anything that comes in a foil packet you eat out of there, so you don't get your hand all dirty. But your hand's dirty anyway, so. The last thing on the outside is my camera, actually, right here. So it's on this clip, and I can just pull it off so that anytime I see something insanely gorgeous, I can pull it off and be taking pictures or video right away. And I use my tripod, which is actually what the phone is on right now, so maybe I'll put a picture up of that. The pack brain is the next level of accessibility. I keep my, if it gets cold, I have my beanie, I can just throw that on. And then the headlamp, just because it seems, I really don't need to access it, but usually I'm hiking by the time I want to switch between headlamp and no headlamp. This is my wallet. It's got some SD cards. Cool little medal that my dad's wife gave me. St. Christopher, the guardian of travelers. And yeah, I really don't need this on the trail, but as soon as I pop into town, I want it accessible. And then this is kind of just a random ditty bag. It's got, I'm always in this thing. It has my foot care kit. It has my ibuprofen in there, so that's good stuff. And then also my hand sanitizer and like toothbrush and toothpaste, all that kind of thing. These are electrolytes to throw into drinks, and that's that with that. And then down here on the bottom, there's the hip belt, has this cool little pocket where the phone and the AirPods live. So I'm constantly looking at the map on the phone and listening to audiobooks and music. Pop this open. This is going pretty fast. This is my stove and fuel. The coffee is already inside there, so anytime I want to stop and have something hot, I cook a lot. I cook 2 or 3 times a day, so when I want salt, I cook up a ramen. When I want energy, I have some caffeine, and then dinner or whatever, so I'm using that all the time. Pretty much everything just kind of lives in here now. I have my big food bag in the back, so I can access it from the top. That has all my food in there. These are my sleeping socks. I do carry a pair of socks just to sleep in. This is my electronics bag. It has batteries and cables and different stuff like that. So there's my battery. It's a 20,000 milliamp hour. I think somebody asked, yeah, Bikana Kanka says, how do you charge all your electronics regularly? So that's how I do that. And then anytime I'm around an outlet, which happens pretty often, every 3 to 5 days, I would say, I'll plug in and try to charge some stuff up. Merino wool, just pullover. I sleep in that, or I wear it if it's starting to get a little chilly. Nano puff jacket. This when it gets really chilly. This is my sleeping bag stuff sack, but I actually just keep my rain jacket in there because I almost never use it, but it works well as a pillow. And this is the pillowcase. And then some gloves. I got these for $6 at the hardware store. They're nice and warm and have a good grip. Merino wool pants, again, mostly for sleeping. I'll hike in them if it's really cold. And there's my air mattress, sleeping bag, and lastly, the tent that hasn't been used. Oh, and I have these insoles that came with my shoes, but I have separate insoles that I'm using. I don't know why I'm carrying them, but I'm still carrying them. And that's all the gear. Mineral King, can you play Champagne Supernova? Not right now, but actually when you go under when I went under Highway, 14 and Interstate 10, there's these tunnels that you go through that resonate really well. So I've been humming and singing in there, but I haven't passed one since you asked this question. So I'll practice my Champagne Supernova and see if I can get you something. Michael Dorsey asks, what are your duties now in the reserves? So I was able to reschedule 3 months of drill weekend for June, July, and August. So that's why September 11th is when I have to be back. I just got assigned to Command Naval Forces Korea, and we are in charge of the emergency action plan. If homeboy Kim Jong-un decides to launch some missiles, either really at anybody, then we have a plan to evacuate all the Americans out of South Korea. There's more than 10,000 Americans there. So it'll probably be a cluster, but we'll spin up a bunch of boats and trucks and planes and things like that and say, hey, be here right now. We keep a list of all the people that are there and hopefully get them out of there if there's danger. So my duties in the reserve, I'm still an officer, so I'm a department head of what's called N6, which is mostly like IT and stuff like that, but you kind of wear lots of hats when you're an officer. What else? And my responsibility is 1 week in a month and 2 weeks a year. So I can get into that at a later time, but that's really my duties in the reserves. I'm still my designator is still a submarine officer, so that's my specialty. But this one is like a general all-purpose officer, this billet that I'm in right now. So nothing really specific to submarines. OG Bayshawn, what are you craving most? Probably ice cream. Anything with ice. Ice baths for my feet, ice cream. A cold beverage is good. It's fun to get like a cold Coors Light. That's happened a couple times, or just cold water even. So just cold stuff. It's because it's so hot out. Other than that, as far as food goes, like my sweet tooth is really coming out on this trip. Lots of candy. So my mom and dad, they're both in oral hygiene. They've already scolded me for the amount of candy that I'm eating. But I have floss and toothbrush and toothpaste that I use every day. So hopefully I'm good. We'll see. I already have a scheduled cleaning for when I'm done in September. But yeah, hopefully I don't have a cavity. We will see. Kristen asks, how are your abs coming along? Honestly, not as good as I hoped. Like, 0 abs. I don't think I'm losing that much weight. I'm eating a ton, so it is what it is. My legs, though, my legs are pretty, pretty solid. So that's good. And also, favorite part of your adventure so far. Really, it gets to that sunrise to sunset, like being awake and outside and hiking for the entire day to just see that whole cycle without even being inside once. It's kind of special and unique. I'm enjoying that. It's like, yeah, connecting with nature, and I'm probably gonna have some big epiphanies in the Sierras for sure. So I'll share with you what my big epiphanies are when I get them. Chief Sanchez, can't believe you're a chief, but here we are. Says, why did we never get Eng Leary, and how has your hike been thus far? So Eng Leary, Eng stands for engineer. On a submarine, there's 3 department heads that are nuclear trained: the engineer, the navigator, and the weapons officer. I elected to leave active duty before I had to be a department head on a submarine because I wanted to spend time outside and not in a steel tube underwater. But I definitely miss the guys and the relationships that I made on the Louisville. Chief Sanchez is one of those guys. And so, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons I left and a lot of reasons I regret leaving, but I don't have time to go into all of those. But the basic thing is I think I traded time for money. Like, I really value my time, and when I'm working on submarines, as you know, you're working very hard. So I had some other things I wanted to do with life, and that's where I'm at right now. But hopefully I can still help you guys out. I'm raising some money, and Chief, I'm gonna talk with you if one of your guys needs an oil change, or if we can sponsor an MWR party for auxiliary division or something. Let me know, because I'm sure we can come up with a good idea. Sacred Mountains asks, how do you manage to hike 20 plus miles a day on average? That's insane. Thanks, Vishnu. Really appreciate it. I'm just awake and hiking all day, so my average pace is around 2 to 2.5 miles per hour, That's including with breaks. If I just like go straight for 3 hours, no breaks, no photography, nothing, then I can manage 3 miles per hour. But yeah, so you figure you're hiking 10 to 14 hours a day, multiply that by 2, then you're at 20 to 24 miles, or 28. On my big days, my 32s, I might be hiking into the night or doing, taking slower breaks. But I think I'm going to slow down a little bit so that I can make sure I'm managing my feet. Sarah LC asks, how are you holding up mentally on this journey? Pretty good. Honestly, the main thing in the back of my head is if I'm screwing up my feet and causing long-term nerve damage. But yeah, I'm just choosing not to worry about that now. And when I get bored, I'll listen to music or podcasts. Not podcasts, I haven't listened to a podcast, audiobooks. Or sometimes I'll just hike in silence and for a couple hours, and that's always fun too. So mentally doing pretty well. It's a long journey, and I'm feeling prepared for it, and I'm feeling excited for it. Archie Leary 2, my brother, asks, best on-trail meal, best full pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream to eat, ? So I like these, God, it's probably at the bottom, we'll see. I mean, the ramen's good, I'm still enjoying the ramen. Oh, it's right here. So these Knorr pasta sides, the cheddar broccoli is delicious. It's the best flavor by far. I like variety, so I get different flavors for each one. I really don't think there's broccoli in there. It does list it on the ingredients, but it's basically mac and cheese. So they're pretty good, they're easy to make, and a lot of salt, and usually that's what I'm craving at the end of the day, is something nice and salty. So those are my dinners, usually. Honestly, a lot of the restaurants I've stopped at have been fine, but they're just satisfying a need for a big meal and have this hiker hunger. Ben & Jerry's ice cream, I love the molten core ones that they have. They have this one with a caramel core and brownie bits. I think it's called Caramel Sutra. It is so good. I haven't had it yet on trail, but I had cookie dough and I had one other flavor. I already forgot. But I was eyeing the strawberry cheesecake in the refrigerator section of the KOA campground. So next time I'll probably get strawberry cheesecake unless something else catches my eye. Anyways, that's it. Again, thanks for all the questions. If you have more questions, feel free to ask in the comments, message me, email me, whatever. Yeah, thanks.